Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky15, where I'll be giving you my Lucky 15 selections for tomorrow's horse racing action as per usual here on the channel. Just a normal Lucky 15 tomorrow. We'll just be doing the each way selection that we normally do here on the channel. Thanks for everyone who subscribed recently and been watching our vlogs, especially last week over Royal Ascot. We've had quite a lot of new followers on the channel, and if you're new to the channel here, what I do is I make a daily Lucky 15 selections and place them on a bet. Sometimes they come in, sometimes they don't. I ultimately am doing this because I want to be a horse racing journalist in the near future. I'm going back to university in September to study a course in sports broadcasting journalism, and hopefully when I get through that I would like to work as a journalist in the horse racing industry. But yeah, I'll be giving you my selections for tomorrow as usual, and we kick off tomorrow at Southwell in the evening action. To be honest, all our selections will feature from the evening racing tomorrow. I looked at tomorrow's cards and I found quite a lot of weak racing, if I'm honest, or quite a lot of tough picks. Not many winners that I could see there that I fancied there. So yeah, I'm going into Southwell tomorrow in the 6:10 with our first selection, and a horse called the Last Bridge, which is going to be ridden tomorrow by Richard Johnson, the current champion jockey over jumps, and he's going to be riding for his mum tomorrow, Sue Johnson. This horse is quite a consistent horse at Southwell actually. It's a previous course and distance winner, and it ran a respectable run last time out in second place over this course and distance. He's very well in the weights. I think he's receiving about a stone here or there from his rival, so that's quite encouraging there. And he's also got a workable mark that he will be able to compete off tomorrow. I think it was at 85, and he's been very consistent. I think he's been in the places most of the time in his last 5 or 6 runs, so you know what you're going to get from this horse. He was currently 4-1 with bookmakers at the moment, if you actually take into consideration when runners run at Southwell, a lot of winners there tend to like the track because a lot of the hurdles and I think the jumps as well on the chase course are actually slightly different to a lot of other race courses. They're slightly different, and some horses prefer it, some other horses don't prefer it, but this horse does seem to run well here, and I thought at 4-1 he was definitely a fair price there to definitely be at least involved, and he could possibly win the race. So that was going to be our first selection there, the Last Bridge in the 6:10 at Southwell. Our second selection tomorrow sees us have to wait an hour at Southwell, continuing with the jumps in the 7:10 with Stormbay Bomber. Adam Nicol takes the ride on this one, and he's riding for Patrick Holmes tomorrow, who's actually been riding quite well this track. Adam Nicol, he tends to ride quite a few winners here, and also the trainer as well's got a fairly decent strike rate. He started to find some winners here, so that's quite encouraging again from what we mentioned earlier, that a lot of horses that do well at Southwell consistently always normally perform well here. And this horse again is a previous course and distance winner. It won last time out. It's run over this course and distance 4 times, and it's 2 from 4, so that's quite encouraging there. 7-1 bookmakers at the moment. This race is a little bit more competitive than the last race he ran in. A lot of horses that have ran off better handicap marks, but he will be getting a lot of weight tomorrow. He'll be getting off at least a stone from 2 of his market rivals that are slightly better off in the betting than him at the moment, slightly shorter than Stormbay Bomber. So I thought this horse, because it's been running very well late and it also likes this track, could possibly be towards the business end of this race tomorrow, and I thought a 7-1 with his record here, that was quite a fair price, and that's who we've gone for as our second selection tomorrow. We then move to the 7:40 at Southwell, and to be honest, this is probably one of the most weakest races that this horse that we've selected could be found to win, and the horse that we've gone for here is Corobee of Dan Skelton's yard. His brother Harry takes a ride here, and we've actually made a bet we've referred to a number of times here over the last few weeks and months on the channel, that I've tipped Harry Skelton to be champion jockey this year over jumps. I know that's a bit of a long shot, but I think he's been riding as well as ever. He had a good season last year of over 100 winners, and that was the second time I think he'd done it in a row, but he was a lot quicker about it this time, and he's kicked off this season very well over the summer jumps season, really, because it's kind of like 2 seasons really, the jump season. At the moment the jump racing is really weak, so it won't be until about the autumn time where we will see the better calibre of jumps horses, but even if he's probably on double the figure he is now for the wins and he keeps riding as he is doing, he could well figure and give Richard Johnson a run for his money, who has been a bit hit and miss. Richard Johnson is riding as well as ever, but I think he could have a bit more of a challenge on his plate this year compared to last year when he really only had Brian Hughes, really, who was a bit of a thorn in his side, but he wrapped that title up to bed a few weeks before the end of the season. So I thought that was a good bet there. And also Dan Skelton as well has been riding really well at the moment. He's had a lot of good horses. He buys a lot of horses that have not really ran well for many other stables, and he's really turned them around and proved them to be good horses, and he's got quite a few wins under the belts for those horses. So I thought Corobee was quite interesting. He has not won a race yet, but this is a maiden hurdle tomorrow, and his opposition haven't showed absolutely nothing. A lot of very poor form to go on, and this definitely looked like the best bet on paper. 6-4 at the moment, and you might argue that's short for a favourite, but I think he could even go off shorter. The doubt is obviously that he hasn't won a race yet, but if he can't win this race, I can't see what other races he's going to win, to be honest. At 6-4, I definitely thought he could be our banker tomorrow, at least in our lucky 15, and that's who we've gone for there. With the yard as well, especially in red hot form, I think Dan's still top of the trainers' table over jumps, and also Harry is in second place in the jockey standing. So hopefully they get a win there to compete my bet still, and give Johnson and Henderson and Nichols a bit more of a test this year over jump. So that's who we've gone for there. Corobee in 7:40 at Southwell. Our last selection tomorrow sees us go to Windsor on the flat meeting there. This is probably the best flat action tomorrow, if I'm honest, but again there's a few maidens and not very many runners tomorrow night on the card, but we've managed to select one here that I thought was quite interesting, called Lightning Dance, trained by Amanda Parrott, and takes on the ride of Jim Crowley here, who's the current champion jockey, but he might lose his crown this year because Sylvester de Souza has been riding out of his skin. But Jim Crowley's still a very reliable, good jockey. He tends to ride a lot for Amanda Parrott. This is one of his trainers that he regularly rides for. Now this horse is quite interesting. Second on its first ever start at Salisbury, which we were there for that day, and that was a really good performance to only just lose that day. And then it was a subsequent winner of a maiden where it managed to ride on really well at Goodwood and just held on for the win. And he's got a fair mark tomorrow, making his handicap debut of 78, which I thought wasn't a bad fair mark for this horse, and I definitely think he could be in the frame tomorrow. Currently 9-2 at bookmakers at the moment. He's still really unexposed, and hopefully he'll put in a good performance to us tomorrow. So that was our last selection there on what is pretty much a weekday of racing tomorrow, but we managed to come up with something at least, and hopefully we can have a few winners there tomorrow. Anyway, if you've enjoyed our vlog, please like the video. Also subscribe to us to the channel here for more daily horse racing predictions. I will be going to Salisbury on Wednesday to just give you a heads up. I'm actually off from work that day, so I can actually get to the race course. And also as well, we'll be doing some live vlogging on our Twitter feed for our selections for each race from the parade ring there. So that's our big news for this week. Also as well, you can follow us on Twitter, like I just said, at Lucky15. You can also like us on Facebook at Lucky15 as well. Gamble responsibly, and we'll be seeing you soon.